Hello P2, how are you all? I've got my little friend with me. I've got our teddy bear with me today, and we thought we would go for a little walk by the beach at the seaside. But when I told Teddy that we were gonna go for a walk at the seaside, he asked me a really clever question. He asked me, why does the water taste salty when you're at the beach? Do you know when you go for a little paddle and a little bit of the water gets into your mouth? It doesn't taste like the water from our tap. Sure it doesn't. It tastes a bit salty. So I thought we could answer that question together by doing a little bit of science. Are you up for that? Great. Well, let's get started. A few weeks ago we were learning about how the water in our world keeps going round and round and round like a circle. We know that this is called the water cycle. When the rain falls down from the clouds, it lands on hills and mountains. The rain then mixes with some amount of salt that's lying on the rocks of the hills and mountains. The rain then dissolves the salt, and the water, along with the salt, starts to fall down towards the sea. So dissolving is when something disappears when it's mixed with water. We already know that salt dissolves in water because when we go to the sea, we don't see big chunks of salt, sure we don't, in the seawater. That's because the salt has started to dissolve in the water, and that's what makes our seawater salty. So why don't we experiment with some other things that we've got around the house and see whether they dissolve in water? So you can join in with me if you want, or else you can watch me and we'll find out the results together. So if you want to join in at home, these are the things that you're going to need. Why don't you click your fingers at home and we can make all the things appear. Let's go. Sugar, some flour, some sand if you have it, and coffee. 4 glasses of water. And don't forget a spoon. So the first thing that we're going to use is some sugar. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a spoon and I'm going to make sure that I get a spoonful of sugar. And we're going to do that for each of the different things. We're going to make sure that we've got a spoonful of them to make sure that it's a fair test and that we're treating them the same. Okay, so I've got my spoonful of sugar and I'm going to drop it in to the water. Okay, so watch what happens. Okay, to help it, I'm going to start stirring it. So this is what the sugar looked like before. You can see all the little tiny granules. Okay, after stirring it into water, I want you to look.
Boys and girls, we can't see any sugar granules left in the water. That means that the sugar has mixed in with the water and it's dissolved completely. It's disappeared. So what do you think? Does sugar dissolve in water? Well done if you said yes it does. Well done.
So the next thing that we're going to look at is flour. So this is flour that you would use if you're baking a cake or some cupcakes. And let's see what happens when we put water in with it. Do you think it's going to dissolve? Is it going to disappear? Okay, so just like before, I'm going to get a spoonful just to make sure that it's completely fair. We're putting about the same amount in. Okay.
I'm stirring it. Goodness, it seems really lumpy, doesn't it? What do you notice? Yeah, the flour has not disappeared. It's just sitting in the water. So what does that mean? Does it dissolve? It doesn't dissolve, that's right.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to try is sand. Okay, so I've got my sand here. It's pink sand. Okay, we're going to see whether sand disappears in water. Okay, maybe have a wee think about in school when we've got the water tray and the sand tray. And sometimes what happens is if we haven't dusted our hands off properly at the sand tray and we go straight over to the water tray, what happens to the sand? So there's a big clue. Okay, so we're going to see what happens. I'm going to get a spoonful of sand and I'm going to pop it into the water. And again, I'm going to give it a big stir.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is that the pink sand granules are still in the water. They're not disappearing even though I stirred.
So that means that sand doesn't dissolve in water. So also, if you think about when you're at the beach and the sand goes near the water, does the sand disappear when it goes in the water? No. Could you imagine if sand did dissolve in water? There would be no sand at the beach left. Okay, the next thing that we're going to try is, smells really nice, it's coffee. So I've got my water and I've got my coffee, and again you can see the coffee granules there. Okay, so we're going to get our spoon. What do you think at home? Do you think coffee's going to dissolve in water? Well, let's find out. A spoonful of coffee.
So boys and girls, you can definitely see that the coffee has made the water turn into a brown colour. But are there any coffee granules left? No, it's completely smooth. So that means that the water has allowed the coffee to dissolve in it. Could you imagine if you were drinking a cup of coffee and there was big lumps in it? Nobody would want coffee, sure they wouldn't. It wouldn't be very tasty.
So we have found out, boys and girls, that coffee and what else dissolves? Yeah, so we know that coffee, we know that sugar and also salt are three things that dissolve in water. I thought that we would get some salt and we would have a bit of a competition. So I've brought my sister Katie along with me and we're going to have a competition. Yeah. We're very competitive.
Oh, very competitive.
So, hi boys and girls. We're going to see whether the temperature of the water that we have makes a difference in the speed of dissolving. So we wonder whether maybe cold water will be quicker in dissolving it or rather hot water. So Katie, I've put you in charge of the cold water.
Cold water? You don't trust me with hot water, no? Yeah.
No, so that's... Yeah, exactly. Boys and girls, if you are going to do this at home, make sure that you've got a grown up nearby to help you with the hot water because you don't want to get burnt and we don't want you to get hurt. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to pour our water in and we're going to make sure that it's at the same level just to make it fair because we don't want anybody winning when it's not fair to win. Okay, so Katie's going to put some cold water maybe up to about there, maybe about 3/4 of the way up, and I'm going to put the hot water in. Okay, so do you want to show them how much salt that you've got on your spoon? So we've tried to put the same amount of salt on each of our spoons, and the other thing that we're going to do the same is we're going to put it into the water at the same time just to again make it a fair test and make sure this competition is fair. Okay, so we'll count down from 3 and then we're going to put it in and we're going to see which one is going to dissolve quicker. Do you think it's going to make a difference at home? Who are you cheering on, Miss Wallace or Miss Wallace's sister? Better be me. Ridiculous.
You want somebody different, somebody new.
Miss Wallace 1 or Miss Wallace 2. Okay, so 3, 2, 1 and go. Wow, did you notice that one of them dissolved a lot quicker than the other? Let's watch it once more and see which one that was. Oh my goodness, look! Oh my goodness, the salt has really disappeared. Katie,
no, mine's all sitting at the bottom.
Bad news for you. Look, the salt is still sitting at the bottom of hers. How cool was that? Do you want to show them up close so they can see the salt at the bottom?
There you go, you see it all sitting at the bottom.
But the good news is, if Katie was to give that a wee stir, or if she was, if she was to give that a wee stir, or let it sit for a wee bit longer, we know that salt does eventually dissolve in water, but it has to be hot water if it's going to be as quick as mine. Okay, just to finish off, your teacher should have uploaded a worksheet that looks a little bit like this. You can complete this on Seesaw or else you can print it off and do it, or even just talk about it. I want you to do your research and maybe find out what the words soluble and insoluble mean. They're really fancy scientific words that scientists use. And maybe come back and let your teacher know. I hope you had fun today and hopefully we'll be back for more science next week as well. Speak to you soon. Bye.